Welcome to the House of Hammer built by the nation for the nation. Welcome to Raider Nation News today. Hope everybody's having a great Sunday morning wherever you guys are at. You know what it is. You know why we're here. It is our weekly fantasy stardom situm. We are officially midway as we are a few hours away from the start of week 8, even though Thursday night game technically starts it, but it is what it is. Those coming on in, y'all know the routine. You don't, I'm going to learn you real quick. Break them thumbs, hammer that sub, smash a bell to stay up to date with all your Raiders news, rumors, updates, live streams, fantasy, and more. Let's get the ticker and everything else up and running for you guys right now. If this wants to pop up, there it is. All right, we're going to get right into it with the injury news as we do have the game day stuff ready to go. As it stands right now for ruled out today, wide receiver for Jacksonville, Zay Jones is out. Daniel Jones is still out, so Tyrod Taylor will be starting for the New York Football Giants today. Robert Wood, receiver for Houston, is out. Ryan Tannehill is out. Kylan Granson, tight end for Indy, is out. Deshaun Watson is still out for the Cleveland Browns. I believe P.J. Walker is going to be starting for them today. Deebo Samuel is still out. This is his second straight week. Justin Fields with the dislocated thumb is out for Chicago. And running back David Montgomery for the Detroit Lions is out today for his second straight week. Game time decisions, Zach Moss for Indy, Darren Waller for the Giants, Luke Musgrave, wide receiver Curtis Samuel for Washington, Jerome Ford, the running back for Cleveland, Joshua Palmer, the receiver for the Chargers, Gerald Everett, the tight end for the Chargers, are all game time decisions. Expected to play today, running back Raheem Mostert from Miami, Trevor Lawrence for Jacksonville, Taysom Hill, tight end, quarterback, Swiss Army knife for the Saints, and Tyler Lockett, wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks. They are all expected to play. Let's go to the weather report for this week 8. And here we go. Dallas is hosting the Rams. They're inside. Nothing to worry about there. Packers and Vikings, 39 degrees with a chance of snow. Snow. Ugh, hate that stuff. Titans and Falcons in Tennessee, 73 degrees with a slight chance of rain. The Colts are home hosting the New Orleans Saints. Miami at home hosting the New England Patriots, 84 degrees with a slight chance of rain. The New York Football Giants and the New York Jets, the Snoopy Bowl at MetLife, 57 degrees with a huge chance of rain. Pittsburgh is hosting Jacksonville, 59 degrees and rain. Washington is hosting Philly, 72 degrees with rain. It's actually a 10% chance, so they might be okay down there in DC today. Carolina and Houston. Carolina's hosting, 79 degrees and clear. Seattle and Cleveland in Seattle, 51 degrees and clear. Denver at home against the Chiefs, 29 degrees with slight chance of snow showers. The Arizona Cardinals in that giant toaster in the desert are hosting the Ravens. The 49ers are at home in Santa Clara against the Bengals, 68 degrees and clear. Chargers at home against the Bears, 77 degrees, weather you don't have to worry about anyways. And last but not least, tomorrow night, prime time, Monday Night Football, the Detroit Lions at Ford Field hosting the Las Vegas Raiders. Appreciate everybody coming on in today. Let's start getting those questions, those fantasy questions answered quick, fast, and in a hurry. We do have the rankings. We can go through those as well. They are running down the ticker as well. But let's do it in a quick order. Let me get this up right here. There we go, right there. Okay, for the quarterbacks, you have Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Tua Tagovailoa, Jared Goff, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, C.J. Stroud, Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford, and Jordan Love rounding out your 15 for the quarterbacks today. For the running backs, Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler, Alvin Kamara, Travis Etienne Jr., Jahmyr Gibbs, Tony Pollard, Breece Hall, Saquon Barkley, Isaiah Pacheco, DeAndre Swift, Raheem Mostert, Kenneth Walker III, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Bijan Robinson round out your 15. For the wide receivers, you have Tyreek Hill, Steph Diggs, A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Ayuk, Adam Thielen, Mike Evans, Jalen Waddle, and Chris Olave for the receivers. For the tight ends, you have Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, TJ Hawkinson, Sam Laporta, George Kittle, Darren Waller, Dallas Goedert, Evan Ingram, Dalton Schultz, Dalton Kincaid, Jake Ferguson, Kyle Pitts, Logan Thomas, Trey McBride, and Jonnu Smith. That is a shocker to see Jonnu Smith, a tight end number 2, in the mix of things today. For your kickers, Harrison Butker, Justin Tucker, Jake Elliott, Brandon Aubrey, Cameron Dicker, Tyler Bass, Kaimi Fairbairn, Jason Sanders, Riley Patterson, Jake Moody, Blake Grupe, Brandon McManus, Young Ho Koo, Dustin Hopkins, and Matt Gay for your kickers. And last but not least, your defense. The Eagles, Ravens, Jets, Bills, Chiefs, Cowboys, Seahawks, Lions, Browns, 49ers, Chargers, Dolphins, Falcons, Giants, and New Orleans Saints. There is your 15 for the defense. Let's go right into it for the stardom sit-em. You guys have any fantasy questions? Let's get those lineups stacked, racked, ready to go, ready to win. Ask your questions. Let's see if we can get these lineups right and ready for you guys this morning. Good morning, Dominique 5. Salute, salute, salute. There we go. We do have the chat running. And we are doing something a little different. We went back to Streamlabs just to do a test run to see how everything is with it. Right now, I have 0 complaints, but it's also still early. And you guys can see on the top of the screen, 7,020, that way, up there. We are going to do a special giveaway at 8K. As we get closer and closer to it, we will talk about it. But until then, we're going to keep it under wraps for the time being. Let me see if this chat is refreshed. And yeah, it is. I'm going to check the other end too because we are multi-streaming as well today. As of now, I believe we're on Facebook. We're going to get it back up and running so where we are on X and a couple of the other sites. Like I said, I wanted to get back to using this just to see if I can get it back to normal. The last time from what I saw that I did this was when I did the UFC fight, UFC 288, a couple of months ago actually. So it feels good to be back running this and using this because there's a lot more things on here that I don't have to use or have multiple applications open to do it. So it's definitely a better way to go with this today. Let's get to live right there. And we could take down the rundown for the time being. Still need to mess around with my lineup a little bit. There hasn't been much besides the fact that I had Gabe Davis on the bench yesterday, or Thursday night rather, and dude had 20-something points. I seem to have the bad habit of leaving certain players on the bench or making second-guess decisions, and it doesn't seem to work out. But hopefully I can still walk away with a win. I'm going head-to-head against Mitchell Renz this weekend, and I think it should be a pretty good matchup. Hopefully I end up finishing it on top and pause if necessary. I think it'll put me back in the middle of the pack, so we'll see what happens with that. I know we're on very, very early this morning, and I apologize for that, but I do have some ripping and running around to do this afternoon. So I wanted to get on and help you guys out. I feel like a lot of people on the West Coast are still sleeping. It's 6:30 in the morning on the West Coast right now. So I apologize, and if I woke anybody up, I apologize. We can talk about. Actually, I want to huge thank you and shout out to Roar the Lions UK. They had me on as a guest yesterday. We did a matchup preview. We were on for like almost 2 hours. Really good show. Some really good guys across the pond really know their stuff. And we got really in-depth and into deep detail in regards to our matchup against the Raiders tomorrow night. I do think it's going to be a good matchup, but at the same time, it's like still a lot of questions being raised. Jimmy Garoppolo is back tomorrow night after missing the previous game against the Bears with the back injury. Devontae is going against another former NFC North rival in the Lions, another team that he used to put up phenomenal numbers against. But it all comes down to the coaching. It all comes down to making the right decisions with the guys that you have on offense. It all comes down to your offensive line producing and protecting, whether it being your quarterback or your running back. I said it yesterday during the live that if we win, it might be a nail biter. If we lose, you're probably looking at like 31-18, 31-17, and if we win, you're probably looking at a 24-21. But I do think Monday Night Football under the lights, Taya said it before, like, what better way uh, to go out than on Monday Night Football and just show up and show out. But we shall see come tomorrow night. And we will be live doing live play by play of the Lions and Raiders game right here. So make sure to stay tuned for that. I will have it scheduled. I will have the thumbnail up and everything and ready to go for that. Let's open up if anybody is in the chat right now. If anyone wants to get their fantasy questions answered, feel free to start asking away. We could even open up the vault line for you guys as well if you guys want to get these lineups right, stacked, racked, and ready to go. Let me get in here and just turn off Do Not Disturb, and I'll put the number in the chat as well. Get this going. It should show up in a second. There we go. There you guys go. Call into the SeatGeek Vault line, have your voice heard, and sound off on the current topics. Now, call in and get your fantasy questions answered and ready to go. I totally forgot to change that with that chat bot yesterday. I was all over the place yesterday. But there's a number right there on the screen, and if those are in the chat, feel free to call in and get your fantasy questions answered. We've already been on about 15 minutes. If you don't want to call in, again, we don't have many people in. Like I said, majority of the viewers are from the West Coast, so we know a lot of you guys are still sleeping. I apologize, but I had to come on early. Got a whole bunch of things that I got to take care of today. So, yeah, here we are. I didn't even think I was going to be able to get myself up early enough to get this live on. So, yeah, let's see if there's any other updates in regards to the injury report as it stands right now. Let me just double check. I don't think this one's logged in. That's why. Wait, is it? No, it is. So that's the most updated one right now. I'm waiting to see if there's any tweets or anything that went out, because a lot of the times during these shows, things roll out very, very quickly. Okay, yeah, here's the most recent stuff right now. Zach Moss, elbow and heel. He wants to test his foot prior to the game today. So we should see if that, we'll see. That's going to be very, very close to the start of the 1 o'clock games. Jerome Ford with the ankle. He intends to play today. Deshaun Watson, like I said, he's considered week to week with the shoulder injury. Apparently, the reports out there were that he was cleared, but he has not played in the last couple of weeks. So something that's a little bit questionable right now. Michael Thomas, wide receiver for New Orleans, it is questionable due to an illness. So he is questionable to start for the Saints against the Colts. And that game is at 1 o'clock. So stay close. Stay tuned to that and keep an eye out for that if you have him on your lineup. Good morning, Kerry. Kyler Murray officially cleared, but he has not been activated. We talked about Kyler Murray going into the season with that ACL injury and the chances of him starting, or realistically what the Arizona Cardinals are doing, which is most likely tanking the season and maybe trying to go for another quarterback. But as it stands right now, he is not activated today for the Cardinals. Derrick Henry has been informed he will not be traded. Apparently, there's speculations and certain landing spots for him, but as it stands right now, we're 2 days away from the deadline. Derrick Henry will not be traded. Like I said before, David Montgomery is ruled out with the rib injury. It's his second straight week out. So if you have Jahmyr Gibbs or Craig Reynolds, definitely consider putting them in your starting lineup for tomorrow night's matchup. Angel, good morning, good morning, good morning. Brock Purdy has been cleared for week 8. He was in concussion protocol. For those that don't know, he is expected to start Sunday against the Bengals, barring any other setbacks. Like I said, with Deshaun Watson, PJ Walker will be starting for him for the Cleveland Browns. And that is the most up-to-date news right now as it pertains to the injury report. I did not know that I had the chat box on the screen, so I'm gonna have to get rid of that. Sorry, guys. Let me just check. Yeah, I did not know this was on. That's gonna have to be adjusted as well. Like I said, we are back on Streamlabs. It's been a minute since I've used this, but yeah, we're here. Not for a long time, but we're here for a while. Let me check one more thing here. This one doesn't want to show up at all either. Source. Yeah, that one's not working, but it is what it is. All right, I have Jared Goff and Kirk Cousins for my quarterbacks. I'm sorry. Who would be a better start? Let's go into it. We have the Vikings are going against the Packers, and of course, Jared Goff of the Detroit Lions is going against our Raiders tomorrow night. Doing the live yesterday, doing the matchup preview, there seemed to be a lot of injuries for Detroit. But let me see if I can get the start sit. Let me see if I can get the start sit up real quickly. Hold on. Where is it? Tools. Is it this one? Yeah, it is. Hold on. I'm leaning towards Cousins just because the Green Bay Packers defense is incredibly sus this year. But it has a consensus down the board of Jared Goff. Let's see. Matchup rating is even. The passing completions allowed is pretty even. Passing yards allowed is pretty even. But the passing yards over and under, the total matchup points is playing a part in regards to the odds of this. Fantasy points, it favors Cousins. Let me see. Red zone opportunity is there for Goff. The average points and percentage of games is there for Goff as well. And like I said, consensus down the board has you using Jared Goff as your starter over Kirk Cousins for week 8. So glad that I'm able to answer that question for you. If there's anybody else right now that needs their fantasy questions answered, feel free to ask, and let's get your lineups right, stacked, and ready to go. Oh, man. That was a lot. I don't know what just happened, but I felt like I just was talking a whole lot. All right. We're good. There's nothing else that's going on right now. Again, we've been on about 20 minutes. I know a lot of people are still knocked out, but we went through the rankings, and you guys can see the rankings across the bottom of your screen as well. We went through the injury reports as up to date as it is. No problem, Joel. We went through the injury report. We went through the rankings. We went through the weather report as well. There's really not much else to cover, especially if we don't have anybody else asking questions. So for now, I bid you adieu. On your way out, if you haven't already, break them thumbs, hammer that sub, smash the bell to stay up to date with all your Raiders news, rumors, updates, live streams, fantasy, and more in the house at Hammer built by the nation for the nation, Raider Nation News Today. We will be back tomorrow night, Monday Night Football, Raiders and Lions. We will be live streaming, scoreboard, all that fun stuff. And then we're going to have a lot of lives this coming week. And for those that don't know, the Shieldmore takeover on the Jersey Shore next Sunday. We will be live from Bar A in Lake Como, New Jersey, doing live play-by-play of the Raiders and Giants. You guys are not going to want to miss that, but you guys are probably going to see a whole bunch of other things going on while Graf, and I believe Big Mike is coming out as well. They will be on the East Coast, and we will be all over the tri-state area, so do not miss that. We will have our Reaction Tuesday, our Overreaction Tuesday. We will have a matchup preview, and we might have some very special guests joining us for those matchup previews this week. We may end up doing more than one, depending on the availability of some of these guests that we might have on. But that's where we're at. So wrapping it up, continue to stay safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. COVID is on the rise. Remember to wash your hands and your asses. Are y'all gonna have a show later today? I'm not gonna be in the area today. I'm not sure about Wasted. I'm not sure about Graph. They may be doing something, but I'm not 1,000% sure. But I know I'll be back tomorrow night, most definitely. So that being said, continue to stay safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. COVID is back on the rise. Remember to wash your hands and your asses. And as always, win, lose, or tie, Raider Nation till I die. Till next time, y'all. Peace, love, and positivity. Catch you tomorrow.
Yeah.